Excellencies, SID UN Resident Coordinator, dear DG Tang Ying, dear Mabel, distinguished guests here who are joining in person and those joining online, my dear UN colleagues, a very good afternoon. On behalf of UN Women, I would like to join the Global Development Promotion Center of CIDCA and Center for China and Globalization, CCG, to extend our warmest welcome to you today. Today is International Women's Day, IWD. I will call it in short from now on. A day to celebrate women's rights, their success, their leadership, and contribution to this world. And I salute and celebrate all women in and outside of this room today. This year's IWD theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, is aligned to the priority theme of 68th Commission on Status of Women, CSW in short form, on accelerating the achievement of gender equality and women's empowerment by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing with a gender perspective. Please allow me to begin by outlining why this theme is so important. With only 6 years away from the achievement of SDGs, our SDG 5 is faltering. At the current rate of progress, all targets under SDG 5 are not looking possible to be met by 2030. World's poorest are women. Globally, 1 in 10 women, that is 10.3% women live in extreme poverty. In fragile and conflict context, women are 7.7 times more likely than men to live in extreme poverty, face heightened food insecurity, increased risk of sexual and gender-based violence. Underinvestment in health and education, social protection, and discrimination in workplace, financial and social services continue to intensify women's poverty. If current trend continues, over 340 million women and girls will be living in extreme poverty by 2030. Alarmingly, the impact of climate change could push additional 158.3 million women into poverty. That is 16 million more than men and boys. So to achieve SDG 1 on ending poverty by 2030, progress must be 26 times faster. Second issue, only 26% of 105 countries which were surveyed last year have comprehensive systems to track and make public allocations to gender equality. Without robust systems and governance, countries cannot cost, allocate, or spend resources to implement national gender equality laws and policies, or to ensure public financing to be grounded in realities of the inequities that exist. The financial requirements, as also outlined by DG Tang, is huge. With USD 360 billion annually, that is a shortfall. Just in 3 areas of SDG, ending poverty, ending hunger, and promoting participation of women. That is the amount that we lack currently. And this amount is, of course, even bigger if we were to look at gender targets across all other SDGs. Based on 2020 and 21 data, just over 4% of bilateral ODA went to programs where gender equality and women's empowerment is a primary object. Globally, a staggering 1.7 trillion, one moment, please, financing gap persists for women-led micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise to sustain their businesses. Women only hold 15% of executive roles, highlighting the entrenched male dominance within the financial industry itself. It is possible, however, to make policy choices aimed at accelerating progress towards ending poverty and achieving sustainable and inclusive sustainable development for all. This will require investment in comprehensive set of policies, economic and social policies, and gender-responsive accountable institutions to address systemic structural barriers and intersecting forms of discrimination that women and girls continue to face. To this end, as UN Women, we are calling for the following four actions. The first one, strengthening financing and institution to address women's girls' poverty. This includes institutionalization of gender responsive budgeting to target public spending, debt relief to free up public financing, progressive taxation for expanding public investment needed to eradicate women's poverty. Second, accelerate proven solutions towards gendered poverty reduction. This includes high quality public services, strengthening social protection mechanisms and systems, and recognizing care as a global public good and invest in care economy to reduce women's and girls' poverty. A critical enabler, of course, for all of this is to have robust gender data ecosystem to truly understand the multidimensional nature of poverty and to be able to inform through evidence-based policy and programming actions. Third, invest in women's leadership to drive gender responsive pro-poor policy development strategies and meeting the diverse needs of women and girls. A critical aspect of this includes supporting women's leadership and participation in economy and across all sectors at all levels, increasing financial support towards women's rights organizations, women-led cooperatives, and social service organizations who are at the front line of delivering services for women and girls, including as first responders in crisis and conflict. Fourth, expand fiscal space and drive resources for financing through private sector partnership and sustainable finance markets. In the era of digital and green transitions, it is crucial to ensure green and climate financing, digital financing, fintech is accessible and equitable for every woman, every girl. There is a need for us to renew commitments and embrace innovative approaches for financial inclusion of women and girls through market-based solutions and strengthen accountability to deliver for women and girls. As UN Women, we have been partnering with China on many of these dimensions in China and globally. One example is our partnership with IFAD and the Provincial Department of Agriculture and Rural Affairs and Women's Federation in Hunan province, where we have reached almost 70,000 people and 5,000 over female-headed household across 10 pilot counties to develop capacities and access to resources for climate-smart livelihood and entrepreneurship development, securing nearly $1 million grants to support 43 business startups led by women farmers. And this is a result just in 2023. There is, of course, many more examples to share from across the board. Since the reform and opening up in 1978, China has witnessed a remarkable economic transformation, lifting nearly 770 million people, 50% whom are women and girls, out of extreme poverty. While there is no one-size-fits-all growth and development model, we believe China's experience provides a valuable lesson for other countries in accelerating progress towards ending poverty, including among women and girls. More importantly, with China being a long-standing South-South cooperation partner and finance provider, we see enormous opportunities to strengthen cooperation and innovative partnership in accelerating gender equality and women's empowerment through these existing mechanisms. As UN Women, alongside our UN family, we stand ready to work with China's cooperation institutions and partners to inform development cooperation for enhanced SDG impact, including for SDG 5. Excellencies, distinguished guests, I feel so honored that we have a lineup of such outstanding esteemed speakers here today, and I sincerely am thankful to them for their time and commitment to share good practices, lessons learned, and reflections on how to make progress on SDG 5. Through a very strong national institution, public financing, robust international cooperation policies, and through innovative public-private partnership. Please stay tuned as we hear more examples from these representatives in a bit. Through multi-stakeholder dialogue and partnership like this one, we can begin to harness synergies and collective action to uphold multilateralism and strengthen international cooperation. Thank you once again for joining us today for this very important discussion, and to GDPC and CCG for the collaboration and partnership to make this happen. I want to close by wishing everyone a great International Women's Day. Let's today and every day vow to stand with women for their interests, for their needs, and for their rights. Thank you. 谢谢.